Welcome, everyone. Happy Tuesday. I hope your August is off to a fantastic start. Thank you for taking the time to attend today's webinar. It is top of the hour, and I do want to be respectful of your time, so we're going to go ahead and get started. I'm Reneika Lightbourne. I'm excited to be joined by co-founders Dennis and Patrick of TresMonet. Thank you both, gentlemen, for taking the time to be our featured speaker today. So Dennis and Patrick will, kind of give us an insight in terms of how their path in terms of building a startup from product viability within the beauty and wellness sector. Of course, you'll have an opportunity to, kind of get their insight on private equity in terms of building a startup company and some opportunities from an investment standpoint. I'm not, financial advice or anything like that. But before I turn it over, I just want to give you like a synopsis of what self-directing is. Of course, when you're looking to get started with some of your options, if you have questions, you're able to type those in the question box. We'll definitely allocate some time at the very end to get those answered for you. Again, my name is Reneika Lightbourne. I'm one of the business development specialists here at Advanta. I've been with Advanta as an employee since 2019. I'm also an Advanta client as well. I've been actively self-directing my account since about 2016 or 17. So if you have questions, you want to learn more, you want to do a deeper dive or a one-on-one, definitely feel free to reach out to me. You can give me a call, send me an email, but also visit us at AdvantaIRA.com. So just a little housekeeping. Again, at Advanta, we don't give our clients any tax, legal, investment advice. All of the information that's going to be presented is just more so educational purposes. We always encourage you to consult with your professional teams, which includes your attorney, your CPA, or financial advisors before making any investments. So just quick takeaways in terms of the self-directed process, just high level. Just know that any IRA or former employer plan qualifies to be self-directed. 2, you choose the investment that works best for you. Today we're talking about, private companies or private equity. And then, of course, knowing that all of the income that's generated from the investment flows back into your IRA. If there's any expenses associated with that investment, it will be paid out of the IRA as well. Just a little history about Advanta. We've been in the business for nearly 20 years as one of the leading self-directed IRA administrators. Our headquarters is in Largo, Florida, but Advanta has an office in Atlanta, which is where I'm based. And then, of course, we do work with clients nationwide as we have well over $2 billion under our administration. At Advanta, our focus is providing our clients that concierge self-service. So you will have a dedicated account manager with us, a direct point of contact. And then, of course, our educational content, having experts, in their respective fields come in and talk to you about different options that you can do within your self-directed IRAs. Just know that all of our webinars are recorded, so this will be on our YouTube channel within the next 24 to 48 hours. Also, too, on our video library directly on the AdvantaIRA.com website. You're also welcome to check out our blog. It has all of the latest and greatest when it comes to, news, industry trends, and so forth. So exactly what is a self-directed IRA? Just very simply, self-directed IRA just means that you as the account owner have complete control over your retirement funds, you have complete control over your investment decisions, and it gives you the ability to really diversify your account as you build retirement wealth. So in addition to using IRA to invest in private equities or a private company that we're going to be talking about today, you can use IRA funds to invest in real estate, notes and mortgages, precious metals, oil and gas, and much more. So this is just, a quick list, is not fully comprehensive. So why do people choose to self-direct? You may look to self-direct for many different reasons. One of them can be, a new source of capital for you. So let's just say instead of taking out a, personal loan or tapping into your emergency fund, you can elect to use that, that existing IRA or that old employer plan to fund your next project. 2, the ups and downs with the stock market. Instead of, being affiliated with or associated with, risks that you're not able to control, you can elect to diversify and put your retirement funds in, spread it across real estate or again, private equities. And then, of course, knowing the tax benefits, having those rents, those profits, those dividends flow back into the retirement account, tax-free or tax-deferred, depending on the type of account. In terms of the different types of accounts that can be self-directed, it's the accounts that you're already familiar with. For individuals, it's traditional and Roth IRAs. If you are a business owner, you have a side business, you can certainly self-direct a SEP, simple or solo 401k. The solo 401k has a lot of different flexibilities. And again, if you want to do a deeper dive, feel free to reach out to me on that. Some lesser known accounts you can self-direct include ESAs and, of course, HSAs that cover medical related expenses as long as you have a high deductible plan. And then, of course, former employer plans like 401k, 403b, 457, and TSP type plans also qualify to be self-directed. The key thing to remember is the different contribution limits varies between the account types. And then with the Roth, your distribution will be tax-free at retirement as long as you've had that account for at least 5 years and you're at the retirement age of 59 and a half. In terms of the contribution limits, you can contribute to a traditional and Roth IRA $6,000 a year as long as you've earned income and you're under the age of 50. If you're over the age of 50, you can put in $7,000. For SEP, you can put in up to $61,000 or up to 25% of your earned income, your compensation. With a solo 401k, you get to contribute twice. One says, the worker, one says owner, so you get to match. And that'll be a total of up to $61,000 if you're under the age of 50, $67,500 if you're over the age of 50. For ESA accounts, you can put in $2,000 per year per child to cover educational related expenses. With an HSA, again, having a high deductible plan, so check with your plan provider. But for an individual, you can put in $3,650. For a family plan, you can put in $7,300. And of course, if you're over the age of 55 as relates to an HSA, you can put in an additional $1,000. In terms of getting started with us, the process is pretty straightforward. When you're ready to proceed, we'll be there to walk you through the simple steps. First and foremost, is filling out the application to get your account open with us. Most of it will be done electronically via DocuSign. We do pair you up with a dedicated account manager. Step 2 is funding the account. So in addition to making a cash contribution, you can transfer funds from an existing IRA or do a direct rollover from a former employer plan. There's no tax liabilities for you to do that. And then finally, step 3 will be start investing. What is it that you have an interest in? Whether it's again, a private company that's focusing on something that you may have, a personal interest in terms of, health and wellness, you can certainly use retirement funds to make that investment. And with that, I'll go ahead and turn it over to our featured speaker, Mr. Dannel. So just bear with me. Let me make you the presenter.
Okay, very well. So, hi, my name is Danelle. I am CEO of TresMonet or TresMonet, depending on how you want to say it. We are a CBD wellness and beauty company. We are a research and development company with a concentration in producing superior NASA-developed technology in the biopharma space. So you can see our packaging. We make all of our products are 100% organic, and we want to make sure that our packaging matches what is inside of the bottle, and I'll get to that in a moment. The real genius in any room that I'm ever in is Dr. PJ LaRIVE. He is our chief scientist and co-founder with me at TresMonet. He is a former NASA scientist specializing in nanotechnology and bioengineering. He was at NASA. He was researching delivering nutrients to astronauts in zero gravity. He was responsible for inventing the space shuttle's radiant barrier that kept the radiation and heat out of the space shuttle. He directed sickle cell anemia gene therapy, creating nanobots that went into the bloodstream, would find the errant cell and cut off the sickle. He also worked in jet propulsion, helping one of the rovers to land on Mars. He invented the radiant barrier, as I mentioned. He also, as a mechanical engineer, PhD, he designed and built L'Oreal's initial bottling facility years and years ago. He has designed and built 4 Coca-Cola bottling facilities. He designed and built a biofuel refinery in Opp, Alabama, and he's a professor of multiphysics and nanoscience and bioengineering as well. So his wheelhouse for our purposes is in delivery systems. So overview of TresMonet. We are a super premium skincare company with wellness applications as well. It's NASA developed nanotechnology that makes us particular and special. We have the CBD's highest potency as a result of CBD industry's highest potency as a result of our proprietary technology that I'll get into in a bit. We are the first ever to combine CBD with active stem cells, and that is our true breakthrough point, and I'll get into that as well. We're fully vertically integrated, and we have a fashion-forward luxe branding. That's something that's very important to get the luxe feeling of our product. We have 12 market-ready CBD-infused products that we are in the market with right now. So for those who don't know, I'll give a quick overview of what CBD is. CBD is short for cannabidiol, and it is the chemical compound that is extracted from the cannabis plant. As you likely know, CBD is non-psychotropic, meaning there's no THC, so there's no associated high or euphoria that comes with it. But there are exceptional health benefits from working with and taking CBD. And that's because we have within our system, within our body, the endocannabinoid system, which is responsible for the communication between the brain and the body through the synapses in the nerve system. So there are two types of nerve endings. There's a CB1 and the CB2 receptors, and the CBD in different components goes into those receptors like a key in a lock, and then allows the body to self-regulate for pain or anxiety or just general homeostasis, which is balance within the body. So for our purposes, we have a specialized CBD, which Dr. LaRIVE works with at a subatomic level. He elongates the fatty acid chain within our CBD, and that makes it much more bioavailable because of this nanotechnology that I mentioned. Nanotechnology is the science of making matter smaller. So if you think about a marble on the top of a screen, the marble will roll off because it's too large to go into the pores. So with the case of CBD, the marble is the molecule of CBD, and the screen is the skin cells. Most times, or 90% of consumer-based CBD rolls off of the skin and washes off because it's not small enough to get into the pores. So we're working beyond nanotechnology into pico technology, and that makes our process our product extremely bioavailable, meaning that it absorbs into the skin very easily and quickly, and it also in the process neutralizes a particular acid within the CBD, and that allows for the combination with the stem cells, which I get to in a minute. So what is a stem cell? So a stem cell is a primitive organism or a cell that doesn't know what it wants to be. It can take on the properties of other cells when it's paired with it. So in our case, when we pair our mollusk or snail stem cells with the skin cells see the stem cells as common, and then because stem cells have growth factors and proteins, they have an extremely powerful regenerative property. So it will help the cells to recreate themselves. So you'll think about in the case of, say, LeBron James when he got, or Michael Jordan, I believe when he got stem cell therapy, it helped his cartilage to regrow. I had that same thing with myself. I had a really bad injury, and I availed myself to umbilical cord stem cell therapy. And now, whereas I couldn't run across the street, now I can jump rope and be in the boxing gym because the stem cells help to regrow that tissue within the cartilage where it was sent. So we use snail stem cells because snails we share DNA with snails from millions of years ago. So our body sees the stem cells as common, saying, oh, you're like my cousin. And so the stem cells touch the skin, and the skin, because we kill the stem cells at a particular moment, the stem cells see the stem cells as damaged, and then that spurs healing to the affected area or skin turnover or skin regeneration. and I'll be able to show you those results in a moment. The reason why the CBD is important is because if you were to use the stem cells, the snail stem cells, without CBD and without our particular CBD that is so bioavailable, it would burn the skin almost like a chemical burn. It's very uncomfortable. But because of the bioavailability of our CBD, it touches the skin, cools the dendrites, which is the pain receptor, says you're not in danger, and allows the CBD, and I'm sorry, the stem cells to communicate with the stem cells without that burn that I was talking about. So I'm going on to the next slide. Our breakthrough technology is something that no one has ever been able to do before. By working at a subatomic level and elongating the fatty acid change within this industrial hemp-derived CBD that I mentioned, our CBD is, as a result, thousands and thousands of times more potent than anything anyone has ever heard of before. As a matter of fact, we have a 50,000 milligram per gram CBD that I was able to use after surgery instead of the Percocet that I was given by the doctor. So the Percocet made me feel completely woozy and high, which I hated, and I could still feel the pain, but I was just blunted because I was high. And after took about 13 hours before I took anything, and then I took Tylenol and I had the same pain, and then I took 20 cc's or about 2 tablespoons of our specialized 50,000 milligram per gram CBD and had zero pain for about 2.5 hours. And because it's so bioavailable, it went when I hit my kidneys and I had to release, it flushed out into, and I had to take more because the pain came back. But over the whole time when I would have been getting potentially addicted to the opioids, I didn't have to take anything except our product, and came out really swimmingly. And then another aspect of the technology is that we're able to neutralize a particular acid that would make the combination of CBD and stem cells impossible, because it's really counterintuitive that CBD and stem cells would live in the same environment because of this acid. So by neutralizing that acid, it allows for a symbiotic relationship between the two substances and allows for the regenerative properties to take hold. Right now we have 12 market-ready products among 32 SKUs, and we hold over $2.2 million in inventory that's ready for sale. So now you can see the results. You can see, on a 30-day improvement on this razor burn application. This is from our CBD stem cell serum. We have here our under eye cream, which is a 24-hour turnaround. You see it pulls the collagen forward and gives the appearance of, it removes the appearance of the wrinkles. This one is pretty striking. You can see after 5 days, the gentleman, he's much smoother and younger appearance to himself because of the regenerative nature of this product. And it's, when I first started working with this product and I was looking at and doing my due diligence and researching, what the rest of the industry looked like, you look at these 30 and 60-day results and there's really not much of a difference. And then you come over and you see something like this, a 5-day turnaround on this woman who was 74 on the left in the day 1, and she looks like she's in her mid-60s on day 5. This is Dr. LaRIVE. I like to laugh. This is before his daughter's wedding, and this is right after his daughter's wedding, after he created the product. This is this gentleman on the top right. He had very bad inflammation in his body because of his poor diet, and this is after 5 days. It removed all of, he brought him back to homeostasis, to balance within his body. This is what it does for cystic acne, and this is a melasma patient. Melasma is a hardening of the skin. And she'd gone to doctor after doctor and nothing would worked. But after 10 days, she saw really remarkable results with our product. So now this is where it gets interesting. This is what happens with the regenerative nature of the product with burns, 2nd and 3rd degree burns and scars. So on the bottom left, I met this woman at a party on a Sunday night, and this is on Thursday. You can see how it's just help the skin to reheal so quickly. Top left, day 1 and day 7, that was a second-degree burn because you can see where it was actually blistering. So, and when there's blistering, that's a second-degree burn, and it just got it all healed within 7 days. Top photo is day 1 and day 10 of a botched cesarean section of a friend of the company, and this really beautiful woman had this horrible experience, and as a result, she has no scarring 10 days later, and now a year and a half later, there's literally no scar on her body. The bottom right is Dr. LaRIVE's hand, which I'll get into later. That's a 6-day turnaround, and this is 6 days, which would have taken 3 to 4 weeks to heal without our technology. So in terms of the press coverage we've gotten, it's really been quite astounding. We've been called the Rolls Royce of the CBD industry. Forbes calls us a brand to watch. We're on the cover of Women's Wear Daily. And recently we won the New You Beauty Award for Outstanding CBD Product. And I'll get to that again later on. You can see the tear sheets here. This is the cover of Women's Wear Daily. Millennium Magazine said TresMonet is no less than the Rolls Royce of the CBD industry. Visible results within 1 week. Forbes called us another brand to watch is TresMonet, making stem and hemp extracts. Rogue Magazine, Fashionista, Millennium Magazine also said we cracked the anti-aging code. Beauty Independent, which is the Bible of the CBD industry, gave us a really nice article. So we've been very well received by the press. We tell people to take the 5-day challenge because the product works so quickly. It renews skin cells, boosts collagen production, and reduces fine lines and wrinkles in just 5 days. And it works on every type of skin, and the results, we've never seen it not work. It's really, really quite amazing. So TresMonet is a fashion-forward, super premium CBD brand, and it's priced not based on the cost of goods sold like many other products. It's priced because of our proprietary technology and the results, the unprecedented results that we see from the product. So if you think about new technology, every major billionaire in the history in modern history has come from the world of tech. So I look at this as more of a tech play than a product play because we have a technology that no one else in the world has and that no one can replicate, because this is really coming from PJ's brain based upon 30 years of research that he's done in these areas. And the way that it came to him is really quite astounding, which I'll get to when I get to our timeline. We produce the most exclusive CBD-infused products in the skincare, wellness, and pet care industries. Everything we create is 100% organic, paraben-free, and pesticide-free. So many companies in the beauty space are, in order to make their profit margins higher, are putting stretchers, really bad additives into their products so they can increase their profit margins. Well, we don't have to do that, and that's because of the nature of the technology. By making our CBD, for instance, super potent, the full-size bottle is a 1-ounce bottle is $1,250. It takes 1 drop of CBD in order to create that bottle. So our profit margins on everything we do are between 10x and 100x as we move forward. And that pricing was really the savior of the company during the pandemic, and that's something I'll get to a little later on during the timeline as well. So here's our product offerings on the skincare side. We'll start with the balancing cleanser. So because the stem cells don't like acid, we have a pH balancing cleanser that gets the skin ready for our anti-aging serum. And then we have our hydrating toner, which is really amazing for getting rid of excess oils, taking off makeup and such. Then we have the main product, which is our I will call it the Halo product, which is the Rejuvenating Anti-Aging Wrinkle Serum, which we also call the CBD Stem Cell Serum. So we have 4 different sizes there. The 140 is a 5 to 7 day sample, and that gives someone a real taste of what the product is like. The 5 ml is a month-long supply. It's $325. The 15 ml size is $750, and that lasts about 2 to 3 months. And then the 30 ml size or the 1 ounce size is $1250, and that lasts 4 to 5 months depending upon how you use it. And then we have the moisturizer. It's an essential moisturizer. It's really excellent for hydration. And then we have the under eye cream that I mentioned earlier that works within 24 hours to help pull the collagen forward and get rid of those sort of the soft, saggy under eye area. You know, we had a woman who used the product, and she used it for about a week, and she went into a party, and she told me all of the women ran across the room and said, "Oh my God, what are you doing? What are you using? You have to tell me." And that's kind of the results that we see pretty much across the board when people use our products. And then we have on the wellness side, which I haven't really gotten to yet. As we were developing the product base, we started off with the skincare side, but then looking at the market, we decided, you know, we should probably make capsules because that's what the market was asking for at the time. And so rather than just making one capsule, Dr. LaRIVE made 2 different capsules. And I mentioned earlier, the endocannabinoid system uses CB1 receptors and CB2 receptors. So he created one for CB1, a CB1 capsule that is for brain health, and that helps with PTSD. It helps with advanced anxiety. It helps with lung function. And then you have the CB2 capsules, which are more for homeostasis, which is all over body. It's for pain issues. We've had people, and for anxiety as well, we've had people who forget they smoke when they take our CB2 capsules because the pull from the nicotine isn't so strong. We had another gentleman who was a salesperson for us at one of our trade shows. He was able to get off of a morphine drip that he was on for 15 years without any withdrawal symptoms because of our CB2 capsules. And then on the pain balm side, we have a pre-workout sports balm that we call the Alleviating Mobility Balm. And then we have the Alleviating Soothing Balm, which is the post-workout balm. So the pre-workout balm is for warming up. It's 1,000 milligrams per application, and the post-workout is 2,000 milligrams per application. So let me explain that a bit. So when you look at the average CBD bottle, you'll see it'll say 500 milligrams or 1,500 milligrams or even 2,500 milligrams. What that means is in the entire bottle, there's 2,500 milligrams. So that's about 80 milligrams per serving. So that's a misnomer or sort of a misdirection by the CBD industry to make it look super potent. But if you think about aspirin, if aspirin were to do that, you know, aspirin will say 100 milligrams or 50 milligrams. If there's 90 pills, it would be really silly to say that. So I don't really know why they're allowed to get away with this, but they do. But for that 15 milliliter size, for the 2,000 milligrams, there's probably 80,000 milligrams in that bottle. And that's because of the super potent and the super bioavailable nature of our product base. And then we have a hemp tincture as well, which we're not sure whether we're going to keep that in the market, but it's something that we can offer. So this is now I'm going to come to our personal stories and kind of what drives Dr. LaRIVE and myself, and you know how things have changed in our approach. When we first got into this, you know, being entrepreneurs, you think, wow, you know, I see the opportunity in the hemp space, the CBD space. I want to go and I want to make money, you know, and that's the driving force for pretty much anybody who gets in the business. But then both he and I had pretty traumatic experiences that changed our approach to why we stay in this business. So on the top left photo here, you see on the back of Dr. LaRIVE's hand, he had a 3rd-degree burn. He burned his hand, you know, being a mechanical engineer, he was fixing a lawnmower. So on Monday, he burned his hand. It was a nasty 2nd-degree burn. You know, he was treating it or whatever. And then on Thursday, same lawnmower, same issue, he burned it again on the motor and it pulled the skin off the top. So that's automatically a 3rd-degree burn. So you can see on the top left just how gnarly that burn is. So this is on day 1, and then this is on day 6. 6 days later, he was trying to take an updated picture, not realizing it had healed so quickly. And now there's no scar on him at all. And again, this is him before his daughter's wedding and after his daughter's wedding. And then, so for myself, my sister's dog bit off the tip of my nose about 3 years ago now. You know, I didn't really talk about myself yet. I'm a lawyer by education. I'm an actor and an artist by, we'll say, mal-affliction. So I lived in New York as a professional actor for about 25 years while I was helping people to get ready for funding, writing business plans, writing PPMs. And so this has been my grand experience to do all that stuff for myself and running this company. So, but about 3 years ago, there was a real life-changing event where my sister's dog in a car, puppy, just clipped off the tip of my nose. And it was, you know, like, what am I going to do? I don't have a nose anymore. So I went to the emergency room, like, can you put this back on? They're like, no, you can't do that. And so they did a skin graft surgery. So they took, you see the bottom section on the bottom left, they took a chunk out of my forehead and they put it on the tip of my nose. And with skin graft technology, it spurs the growth from the inner tissue to come back to the outside. But using our technology, using our product, you can see on the bottom right, I have literally no scar on my forehead, where I would have had, for sure, a really deep, darker, thin type scar on my forehead, like I had from another dog bite from when I was a 3-year-old. And then on the top right, where my nose tissue is, I have very limited scar tissue from this product. So getting back to sort of our mission, you know, when we saw the way that we could help people, it wasn't really about the money anymore. It became more about, wow, we can really impact and help people to live better. We can make an impact when nobody else can. And so when we were faced with that, it really kind of changed our commitment level. And so when, you know, now when I move forward, I'm going to be talking about the timeline of everything. You know, the stick-with-itness of everything is really important in the wild and woolly world of startups. And so, you know, I'm going to get into that as well. So jumping back to January of 2018, really, it was really December of 2017. I reacquainted with Dr. LaRIVE at a dinner, and we grew up with families that knew each other in New Orleans, and I was moving out to California because my best friend was a master grower of exceptional cannabis, and we were going to do, with the laws changing and opening up in California, we were going to do a marijuana grow and sales outfit. So I wrote a PPM, I wrote a business plan, raised some money, and moved out to California in January of 2018. When I bumped into Dr. LaRIVE in December, I said, "Hey, I'm doing this. Do you want to do it with me?" He's like, "Yeah, sure, I'll do it. I'll be your chief technical officer," because I needed somebody to be able to write, to create CAD drawings and communicate with the city and the state of California, et cetera, et cetera. So I got to California, and whereas we think we're going to be able to get a license, the city of LA couldn't get out of their own way to start giving out licenses for about 18 months. So having raised this money and not able to get a license, not able to get a space because it just nothing was happening, I said to myself, what are we going to do? I can't go home. I have a fiduciary duty to my investors. Let's do a CBD cosmetics product. That's all I said. And, not really knowing Dr. LaRIVE's full wheelhouse. So we started taking conference calls with different people in the industry, learning about the nature of CBD, the molecular weights, the how it's extracted, what the process is, what it combines with, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And we got on the phone at one point with a gentleman who was a neuroscientist who left neuroscience to get in the world of skincare. He said that he was working with stem cells in his product, and that piqued Dr. LaRIVE's interest. And he says, starts asking really pointed questions. And as often happens, the doctor on the phone got into really deep water, wasn't able to answer the questions that Dr. LaRIVE was asking, and says, and so Dr. LaRIVE got really frustrated and said, look, I'm getting off the phone, hung up the phone, and went to the guy's white papers and found out he wasn't using stem cells, he's using the stem of the apple and claiming it was active stem cells. So that made him angry, and he went to bed. Dr. LaRIVE went to bed angry and woke up at about 2:30 in the morning, and on the side of his bed, he always keeps a pad, and he woke up with a formula in his head, and he wrote down the formula and went back to sleep. And he woke up and he looked at it, he had no idea what it was. So over the course of the next 3 weeks, he went to 3 different universities and started doing research. The first university said, well, this is CBD, I don't know what that is. The other one said, well, this is CBD and this is stem cells, but they can't live together because of this particular acid. So then he went to the third university and he ran his tests. The test during that, when he did his technology, applied the proprietary technology on an 80 milligram sample of CBD, after 48 hours, went to 1,600 milligrams in strength. And then 72 hours later, that same 80 milligram sample had gone to 6,800 milligrams in strength and was becoming a biotic because it was over processing itself. It was growing too big for its size. So he knew he had something really special. And then that was the dream that changes everything. That was in March of 2018. And then he does the experiment in April of 2018. And then in early May of 2018, he burned his hand on the lawnmower. You can see the photo. And it healed so quickly that we knew we had something special. We knew we had something that is life-changing. And getting back to sort of the underpinnings of success in business, in the world of startup in particular, it's knowing that what you have is better than anything else in the market. And that comes with a lot of due diligence, it comes with research, and with that knowledge, it helps you to hold on during the times when things get really difficult. And unavoidably, it's going to get difficult. Admittedly, I was very sort of Pollyanna when I walked into this thing. You're thinking, well, of course it's going to work. This is life-changing. Of course people are going to get behind it. It's going to work. It didn't work out as seamlessly as I thought it would, but we press on. So at the end of May of 2018, we had bought 800 bottles of this new product, the CBD stem cell serum. Boxes, really pretty, and we hired a publicist and got her to send it out to 80 different people within the industry, in the press. A month later, we got a mention from Forbes saying that we are a brand to watch. And by August of 2018, we were on the cover of Women's Wear Daily, and WWD is like the Bible of fashion, of the fashion industry. And then by October, Millennium Magazine said that we were no less than the Rolls Royce of the CBD industry, and a follow-up article in November of 2018, they said that we had cracked the anti-aging code. And 2018 was really important because that's when we signed our first corporate account, the Dan Gene Institute. The Dan Gene Institute is in the Core Club, which is in Manhattan. Core Club is a $50,000 membership, private membership club. It's where all the CEOs of New York City go that don't want to go to, say, Soho House, right? So on the top floor is this really high-end spa, and we had given the product to their head buyer, and one of the before and after photos with the gentleman who 5 days later looked so much younger, that was her husband. And when she saw what it does, she was incredulous and said, I have to have this. And so she started buying it from us as our first account. It's very, very exciting. And then on December 31st of 2018, we got a really great coverage, an article by Beauty Independent, which is the Bible of the beauty industry. So following that, on I think January 3rd, after the weekend, the head buyer from Barney's, New York, emails me and wants to inquire about selling TresMonet, because in the article, I was quoted saying that we really only wanted to be in one major retail outlet, and that was going to be Barney's, because we felt it matched our ethic, the sort of edgy nature of Barney's. And they called and wanted to carry the brand, and we were moving forward with them. And they actually even put an ad out in Fashionista saying that they were going to be selling us in one of their stores, but then Barney's went chapter, and that didn't happen. And then in February of 2018, on the heels of that Beauty Independent article, the VP of acquisitions from L'Oreal called Dr. LaRIVE and asked if we were interested in selling our IP. And that was kind of a mistake on my part. I was at a party with our publicist, and I met a woman who I thought was a writer for Entrepreneur Magazine. And I chatted her up. I said, "Oh, what do you do?" She says, "Oh, I do a bunch of stuff. What do you do?" I said, "I'm in skincare." She said, "Oh my God, I love skincare." I said, "Here, well, take this card and read about it, and here's the product, and tell me what you think." And 4 months went by, and I didn't hear anything. I thought that was weird. But then it turns out she was not a writer for Entrepreneur Magazine. She was a finder for Garnier, which is owned by L'Oreal. She kept one of the samples and sent it up the chain. Apparently, L'Oreal did all this due diligence and ran to try to reverse engineer it. They weren't able to, and then they called with an offer. The beginnings of an offer. We didn't entertain it because we were so early in the process, and knowing what we had, I felt like we would be giving away too much too early, and we were having fun driving this new car, so we wanted to keep moving forward. So I mentioned that this product is a $1,250 an ounce product, admittedly expensive, but when it meets the right demographic, it sells like crazy. So Dan Gene was selling 30 bottles a month of this $1,250 product. So when you're dealing with wholesale, you have to give about 50% of that away. So we were making a good amount of money every month, and we started building and growing and taking on employees. And during that time, this is coming towards the second quarter of 2019. We're qualifying investors. We're bringing more people in. Then around May into June, we decide we're going to move forward and not only have just this one serum, but have a complete facial system. Because we keep telling people you have to use a pH balanced cleanser. Well, I'm going to go. We were telling them, well, you can use this or that, and it seems silly to direct them somewhere else. So we decided we're going to do our own, and so we started doing our own facial, cleanser, toner, under eye cream, everything you see, and that was developed around that time. We didn't have the packaging for it, but we had the formulations all done through R&D. And then 619 is when it starts getting really interesting. We lose our credit card processing due to the volatile nature of the CBD industry and how well or not it is accepted by the federal government. So that put a real wrinkle in things. Things slowed down quite a bit. We weren't able to take in those online sales, and we still had 12 employees that we were responsible for, and really took a hit in our bottom line. And that's where it comes down to that stick-to-itiveness that I'll get into in a bit. So we ordered all the bottles and labels for the whole system, and then in January of 2020, the bottles and labels arrive for the facial system and the wellness system. We think we're ready to go, big launch moving forward, and then the pandemic hit. Economic shutdown, nothing is happening. It just everything completely stopped around the world, as everybody knows. So what we did, what we had to, we pivoted towards other COVID-related opportunities. We were sourcing test kits. We, Dr. LaRIVE created a protocol, a medicine for COVID that gets people well within 5 days. We're 100% successful in getting people well. We brought in an investor. We did phase 1, phase 2 clinical trials. We were able to keep the wheels in the cart. We were able to keep our employees paid because we start shifting towards that direction. We were able to heal people on a regular basis. My mother, my sister, myself, my wife. Dr. Ben Carson and his wife took the product and got well. They were very, very ill, and also including the president of Indonesia's sister had COVID-19 and pneumatic pneumonia, and we got her well. So we really kind of got addicted to this helping people thing. But then by July and August, it's really clear that we have to shelve the TresMonet side because it's just no business and we can't accept credit cards. So we just kind of table everything and start working on these other products just to sort of stay in the room. 2021, we weren't able to get the PPP loans or the SBA loans, and that was really has to do with getting good advice from your legal team and your accountants. We were told early on it's best to hire people as 1099s instead of employees, but when it came to the PPP loans, you had to have employees, so that didn't work out. And so we're really just languishing, stuck in the mire, wondering what's going to happen. And then in March of 2021, Danjean comes around again and wants to do a private label opportunity. That was really the godsend that allowed us to get back in business. We were, it got scary. It got really scary. We knew we had this amazing technology. We knew we had this thing that could not stop. We couldn't stop. We were too big to fail, as we would always say to each other. What are we going to do? I don't know. We're too big to fail. So we just keep pushing on. And we did. And then, as happens when you push through to that next stage, something opens up and allowed us to keep it moving. But by November of 2021, we did have to furlough the remaining employees. So we had a very small skeleton crew that was taking care of whatever orders we had from Danjean to some other private clients. And now into 2022 is when things start to sort of pick up again. In late into that year, Danjean starts doing 100 bottles plus of the serum a month, but as a private label. So it's now the Danjean serum. Now, and they want to take on the toner as well. So that's really cool. And then we have, I entered us into the New You Magazine Beauty Awards competition. And in February, we were named as a Beauty Award nominee. Very exciting. Really big gala happening. 10,000 people applied, and we're now a nominee. Very, very exciting. And then in April, we actually end up winning. We win this award from New You Beauty, a gala at the Fontainebleau Hotel, red carpet. I get up on stage, and it's like the Oscars of skincare, and I'm able to give this speech among some really noteworthy names that you'll see in a moment. And then moving to, in the last month or so, and this is when things come full circle for us, and we know that we're in the right place for the right reason. Angaros, which is a luxe beauty brand distributor throughout the GCC, India, UK, Africa, they do a very, very deep dive into our numbers, our intellectual property, and do some field testing. And they gave us a contract. We have signed. Now they're going to launch us throughout the entire GCC, India, and the UK within, I'd say, probably 120 to 180 days. They're going to do a 60-day market research product with market research test with their distributors, and when that comes back, they're going to do a full launch throughout all of these areas. And as I mentioned, everything that we do is pretty much profit, because we're at 10x to 100x, and that's really the only way we were able to stay in the room, is because, you know, we'd already bought all of these raw materials, we'd already bought the bottles, so everything that came in helped us to keep gas in the tank, put grease on the wheels, and sort of keep things going. But now on the tail of this new Beauty Award and Angaros, we are ready for exponential growth that we knew we were going to have happen when we stepped into this. It's just such a gratifying, rewarding, and humbling time for us to be at the beginning of this next part of our journey. Now you can see, you know, some highlights from the New You Beauty ceremony. This is the ball, you know, the entrance area. This is me on the red carpet, accepting the award. We had a full table for ourselves. I think there's probably like 80 or 90 tables in the grand ballroom at the Fontainebleau Hotel. This is the trophy. I got to meet Dr. Perricone. I got to meet Nicole Miller, Beverly Johnson, and Ken Mears is the owner of New You magazine. It was really a special outing. It wasn't just another day. It was one of those life-affirming days where you know you're in the right place, doing the right things for the right reasons. And it was kind of like our introduction to the industry. To, you know, TresMonet got a big check that day from the rest of the beauty industry. It was really, really wonderful. So here we have our management team, PJ and myself, and I think we can get this to this document to whoever might be interested in it. A little appendix here about the nature of stem cells in the body and CBD, and kind of how it works and why it works. Thank you for your time. This has been really great. We really enjoy sharing the gospel of TresMonet whenever we have the opportunity. So Reneika, I want to thank you for sharing this platform with us. Dr. LaRIVE, please, I've held the floor the whole time, but we have a few minutes left if you wanted to say anything.
You know, Dennis, that was, I have to say, probably the best presentation I've heard in a year. Through the pandemic, we, like Dennis said, we struggled through it. We had to make hard decisions, hard pivots, but we survived it. Where a lot of the other companies and the larger companies did not. I think that presentation, I can't even add anything to it, and I'm usually the guy who's always talking. So again, Advanta IRA, I appreciate the organization of this presentation. It was so worthwhile to sit through this again. And Dennis, you got me motivated again, because I have less than 30 minutes. I have to be in lab today for some R&D for a couple new products that we've been in development with. So now you got me motivated so I can go motivate my people in lab. Thank you for that. I appreciate it.
Well, thank you both so very much. Appreciate your time. I did have a couple of questions that came in. So Yes, one of the questions is, can I get a copy of the presentation deck? Absolutely. So I will be able to email that over to you. Just or feel free to send me a quick email and I'll reply back with the attachment. So a couple questions. What is your projected growth for TresMonet? And then also too, are you looking for investors?
Yeah, we are absolutely looking for investors. We have so a best case, a worst case, and an expected pro forma financials that we can share. But we expect, even with the worst case scenario, let's say we're only selling 1,000 units of each of the products along the base, we're still by the end of year 5 well above $100 million. So the worst case was at 1,000 units per product, and then increasing, doubling every year after that. The expected was 4,000 units of each product in the first year, and then doubling each year after that. And when you consider companies like Drunk Elephant or L'Oreal or La Mer are selling hundreds of thousands of units, it doesn't take much to think that we could do 4,000 units with full marketing. But that puts us in the in the 100 million range within a year and a half. And then the best case is at 12,000 units in year 1, and then doubling every year after that. And that puts us in the billions really, really quickly. And it just has to do with where we've placed this product base for the in the super luxe category. 2 things I should mention. Number 1, CBD is controversial. PJ found a way to replace the fatty acids from CBD with moringa, which is not illegal. So we are going to do a sub brand to the TresMonet brand and bring that to market with a mid-range price point with the same technology, but not with CBD. And so really the opportunity for us to have an impact in this marketplace is limitless. We are literally like Procter & Gamble before they were P&G. We're like Johnson & Johnson before they were J&J, right? So we're to fully vertically integrated. We have we do all of our own bottling, all of our own labeling. We have a partner farm in Thailand that we get our CBD from. What other people, because PJ taught them how to extract and help them with their farming techniques, because he has a background in biofarming. What other people are paying $300 to $500 to $700 a liter, we pay $12. So we have a lot of upside potential and very little low downside potential. So it's a very, very bright future that we're looking at. We are happy to talk to investors. We're at a stage right now where everything is in the bottle. The R&D is done. Now it's about scaling to meet the demand that's going to happen. But it now becomes a marketing play. In order to play with the big boys in marketing, we need to do about probably $3 to $4 million a year in marketing, and that's what we're raising the capital for, and also to beef up our production, the capacity, the fill bottle, the fill equipment, et cetera, et cetera. But yeah, we're happy to talk to people about investing. We're very bullish about this, and we want to share the opportunity. I do see that there's a real meaningful exit possibility, either being acquired or going IPO. I'd rather not go IPO, honestly. I'd rather keep this a closely held company and look towards being acquired by one of the majors, 3 to 5 years from now. But I think that's going to be at least a 2 to 3 B number when we are acquired. So there's a really great opportunity for people who want to get involved.
Okay, another question is, do I have to be an accredited investor?
Yes, we are under a 506D Reg D exemption, so we can only work with accredited investors.
Okay. And so one other question, I know we're on top of the hour, but I just want to make sure that I capture the questions that came in. The beauty part is fascinating, but using the product for COVID treatment, are you advocating for off-brand treatments and not using vaccine or conventional methods?
You know, we don't get into the conversation about vaccines. Our product helps with symptoms, and the vaccines don't help symptoms. We help people, and this is a different company, different conversation. As TM Biotech is our company, but people who are about to go on a respirator 4 days later are running 3 and 4 miles. So, you know, we just want to help people to get well. You know, if people can do whatever they want, take the vaccine, not take the vaccine, that's not my fight. Not my, you know, I don't really have an opinion on that for people. It's not my, I don't want, you know, not my job. But we have phase 1 and phase 2 clinical trials. We're 94 to 100% successful in getting people well within 5 days during our phase 2 study. It was an 80-person double-blind placebo-controlled study. Happy to talk about that separately as well.
Okay, and some other questions that came in. What is the minimum investment?
I think, you know, we want to stay 50,000.
Okay, all right, so that's one other question. And so a question came is, how does this work? How does this work legally with investments through the IRA account? I can, you know, certainly do a one-on-one with you, but just high level, you would simply open up your Advanta account with us. You find the investment, you would fund your Advanta account, and of course, whether it's, you know, TresMonet or another private equity firm, you would actually work with that investment provider to, you know, provide whatever subscription document or private placement investment paperwork that they're offering to show that your IRA is actually going to be invested, you know, in that particular company. So if you want to know more specifically, feel free to reach out to Dennis directly. His contact information is on the screen, but let me go ahead and share my screen as well, just so I can show my contact information as well. I have one or two other questions. Just bear with me one moment. How will you communicate with your investors? Is it through emails, monthly and quarterly reports?
With emails, and it's more like semi-annual reports. And you know, part of the next growth phase for us is acquiring the support system that PG and we've been doing all the work ourselves, you know, but bringing on actualizing and activating the C-suite that we have waiting for us. You know, our CFO Bennett Johnson III was the controller for the city of Chicago. Tal Finney, our lawyer, chief counsel, was the lawyer for the governor of California, the assistant governor of California. So you know, we bringing them on board, but then also an investor relations manager to help with that as well. So, you know, but my phone works. I'm easy to talk to. You know, it's a 24-hour life for me, and this is what I love doing. So, the people that work with us, they're like family, you know, and we take that very, very, very seriously.
Well, I can definitely, you know, hear your passion as you present it and, you know, as you speak. So, again, if you have questions relating to self-directed, definitely feel free to reach out to me. If you want to know more about TresMonet, you know, feel free to give Dennis a call or, you know, check out their website. With that, again, thank you so very much for taking the time to attend today's webinar. I hope you guys have a great rest of your day.
Thank you, Reneika, and thanks everyone.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. Y'all have a great day.
Likewise.